Greetings and welcome to Space Engineers. Now, Space Engineers is a game I've had for a really long time. But even though I've had it for a really long time, I wouldn't say that I'm really good at it. You know, usually I just mess around in creative. So the purpose of this world is just to do the things I haven't done in Space Engineers yet. For example, I haven't played with food yet. Anyway, the first thing we're gonna do is just drive around until we find some ore. So, let's see if we can find something interesting. There's a rock over here. Let's look at that first. Alright, so this is nickel. Now the nickel is not going to be important right at the start of the game, because with the survival kit on the back we can only refine stone. But I guess eventually it's going to become a bit more important. So let's just save the GPS coordinate for this. There we are. Now let's go look for something else. While driving around I see that we spawned next to a lake. This is pretty great. It's a good source of hydrogen for later on. Oh, I've also never seen those trees before. They've probably been in the game for like 10 years, but I've never seen these before. Alright, let's go look for more ore. I saw a rock over here, let's go investigate that. Another thing we're really searching for in the start is magnesium, cobalt, and then silver. Now cobalt is what we use to make refineries and storage and stuff like that. And then magnesium is used for ammunition, so of course that's gonna be important. Anyway, let's see what this rock is. It looks like iron. Iron ore instead of stone is pretty nice when you're making the big refinery, because you get so little from stone. You get quite a lot from iron, so let's mark that. Alright, let's continue searching. Now I usually don't settle down unless I've found cobalt. Just because it's so important when it comes to refineries and storage. You use cobalt to make like the metal grids or something. I really can't remember what it's called, but I think it's something like that. Oh. There's an NPC grid over there. I mean, luckily it's not a hostile grid, but regional headquarters. I wonder what that is. What's the faction called? Sacred Dwellers. I wonder if there are like quests and stuff over there. Before doing any quests and stuff like that, I think I'm gonna need like a ship or something. Let's look around more. I haven't found any ores in the ground just yet, just rocks. Also, while driving around, we can see that the end game signal is appearing. Now, why these signals appear like right at the start, I don't really know. Oh, there's ice and fear. Well, not really necessary when we have the lake over there. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I don't really know why these signals come up at the start. For those of you that don't know, what's at the unidentified signals are the prototech blocks. Like the really good blocks you get endgame. Now, I've also never actually gotten prototech, so that's also one of my goals for this series. But I do know you have to fight your way to get them. So that's gonna be pretty fun. Anyway, let's continue our search. I'll be back when I've found cobalt and magnesium. Oh. While looking around, I found some berry bushes. These gotta be new. Can you eat this? Yeah. Pill value 6%. That's not too bad. Ooh! Oh, this is a good find. Gold! Now, it's not gonna be like relevant soon, but it's pretty useful eventually. Use gold for superconductors, which is good for yield modules, which I'm definitely gonna be using eventually. And it would have been a bit better to find silver right now, but I'm not gonna be picky. You know, while I'm driving around, I haven't found cobalt, it's been a while, but what I can do is I can just fill my my survival kit with a bit of stone, so that it's just chugging away while I drive. So let's collect some stone and fill it a bit up. Oh, and we have our first unknown signal. I'm not gonna like pursue them this playthrough. I've already collected like a ton of skins, so I'm probably just gonna leave most of. But now that I think about it, there is loot in those, so I'm gonna drive over to it anyway. Also, while on the way, I can throw this stone I just gathered into the survival kit. Now you can also see that I only have 1200 liters in my backpack. Usually I play with like 10 times backpack, But I'm playing with 1200 this playthrough just to force myself to make like welding ships and stuff like that. Oh, also, I'm sorry. We found magnesium, so let's just mark that down. But yeah, what I was saying. I'm playing with a smaller backpack. Usually I play with 10 times. But now I'm playing with the standard, just like force myself to make welding ships and grinding ships and stuff like that. Because usually when I play this, I just weld everything by hand, which is a horrible waste of time. You know, welding up a ton of like light armor with just your hands is a stupid idea. So yeah, that's why I've done it. Most of the settings are just standard. A couple of them are changed, but most of them are standard. I'm also playing with no mods. I might eventually play with mods, but just for this world I'm not going to. I want the full vanilla experience of Space Engineers. Anyway, let's see what's in this unknown signal now. Hopefully something good. Right, let's first see if we can get some skins. Oh, the button's on the bottom. Let's push it over if I can. Oh! Come on, give me access to the button. Ooh, yes. Let's see if we can get some skins. Oh, well, no message, so I guess no. Oh, that's really good. Magnesium. 66 magnesium as well, that's really good. Alright, let's go see if we can find that cobalt. Now I want to like search next to the lake, because I really want to live next to the lake. It's gonna make it so much easier to get hydrogen. Anyways, let's go see if we can find some cobalt. Oh! Yeah, I saw it. No, come back. I saw the cobalt. Now we can look for a place to build our base. This isn't like the ideal place, but there's quite a nice place over here. Let's build our base over here. Alright, we're gonna build our base right here. So, the first thing we're gonna do is just build a basic assembler and a basic refinery. So, let's make some plates first so we can make a small platform. We just need like 10. There we go. Now let's just make a small platform. This should be good. Now also one of the things I'm gonna do while during this playthrough is I'm gonna try to make things look better, because I'm not really good at doing that. Usually I just make everything gray and then just a blocky mess. So a goal of this playthrough is to actually make something that looks good. So I think for my machines I'm gonna choose like a color for them instead of gray or white. Now let's see if we can find a fitting color. You know what, I'm gonna go with yellow. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna build is the refinery. So let's just place down the grid for that. And let's start digging. I'm just gonna dig right here. It's not that important to me that is next to the base. Now I think we're gonna do a lot at the start of a Space Engineers like survival playthrough is hand drilling. Now I'm playing with the standard backpack, the 3 times. But I really don't... Are there actually people that play with like the 1X, the backpack that only gives you 400 liters? For reference, a 10 times backpack, which is 4,000 liters, I think that's like about 10,000 stone. So a standard backpack will only give you like 1,000, and that's like 30 iron or something, which is absolutely nothing. Anyway, let's fill our inventory with stone. Although the further down you dig, you're gonna get more stone. It's probably because the top is just dirt. Anyway, there's our first inventory. Let's go and deposit that into the survival kit. Okay, so this is about 3,000 stone. Also, I forgot to... like most of the other refineries in this game is gonna do stone automatically, but in the survival kit you have to make ingots yourself. So I'm just gonna queue up like 10,000 of them. Now I'm never actually gonna make 10,000 ingots here, but might as well. Anyway, let's fill this up a couple more times. I realize now that I'm gonna wait here quite some time for deposits, so I think... Well, I don't think I can make a cargo container yet. Oh, I can. I'm just gonna build like a small cargo container on the back here. And one interior plate for that. Let's see, there we are. So that I at least can like stockpile stone in the back of it. Oh, I made it really crooked. Let's fix that. Yeah, like that. Alright, let's wait for that to be made. Let's go and get some more stone while we wait. Alright, we have another inventory of stone. Let's see if the components for the... yeah, the components for the cargo is done. I mean, I don't have space for it now. It's filled with stone, so let's deposit that first. Wait, now we can just deposit the stone in here, and let's get back to mining. I'm gonna mine quite a few inventories before I actually start building something, because I know that I'm gonna need quite a lot of stone. So, alright. I've done quite a few trips now with stone, and I'm gonna mine a bit more, but I'm gonna queue up what I need for the refinery first, so that it makes the components while I mine. Alright, let's see if it has made all the components. Oh, it's just a little bit left. We can wait for that. And there we are. Now I'm just gonna empty my inventory, if I can even do that. And then we can just grab the components to make the refinery. There we are. And let's well it up. And there we have it. Our basic yellow refinery. Now we just need a yellow assembler to match the aesthetic. Alright, so let's get cooking the ingredients for that. Let's see. Oh, I already have something. I have like quite a few components, but anyway, let's produce the rest of it and then make the assembler. Right, we're nearing completion of the components. And then we can start welding up our assembler. 7 computers. Come on. And there we are. Now let's weld up this assembler. Here we have it. A basic assembler and a basic refinery. Now the only thing we need to make them work is some type of power source. So let's get some windmills up. First I'm gonna need a bit of steel plate first. Alright, let's build a little pillar. And then we can put a windmill on top of there. I need interior plates to build that. Let's take a couple of those first. And then we can build a windmill. Yeah. Let's queue that up. And then we can take the components and weld up a windmill. And if the wind has blessed us, we will have some power. Let's go and see. Yup, they are online. Now I'm not gonna use the refinery for stone just yet. I'm gonna use it for cobalt. So let's go over and gather some cobalt. Let's dig down to the cobalt. Now, when mining cobalt, like at the start, I would highly recommend not getting that much of it. I remember previously when I played this, I got like 8,000 cobalt, and the basic refinery, I mean, yeah, it can refine cobalt, but I would recommend getting like 1,000, because 8,000 cobalt is gonna take like a year to get done in a basic refinery. So I highly recommend just getting a little bit, because you don't need that much cobalt to build a refinery or a cargo. So just get like a tiny amount. Anyway, let's see if we can get down to this cobalt. The glorious blue of cobalt. Let's gather a little bit of cobalt. I also see that there's some gold over there, and that's kind of good to know. Anyway, let's gather up a bit. Let's see here. 600 cobalt. A little bit more. 1,000 cobalt. That's more than enough to start with. So let's just drive home and get some more stone. Then we can just chuck the cobalt in here. I'm still gonna use the survival kit to get stone and such, because this thing is gonna be busy with the cobalt. As you can see, it's barely going down. Well, it's going down with like 0.5 every second or something, which is really slow. So yeah, let's just fill this up with stone. Now the next thing I'm gonna build is just like a small cargo hold on the main base. So let's get, I already have plates, so let's just build that right here. And let's queue the components for that. 2 components, I think. 2 components. Oh yeah, it's the metal grids. and the small steel tubes. I think you can only make them. I mean, you can't make them in the survival kit. So you have to make them here. When this is done, I'm just gonna add them here. I could probably just import like. Now the two things you can't create in the survival kit are small steel tubes and metal grids. You have to make them here. So I'm probably just gonna bring all of it over here. I could probably just bring all the ingots from the survival kit over here and just make stuff here. That's probably gonna be a bit better. But anyway, let's wait for this and then bring everything over. Right, this is almost done with its components. And there we are. Now we can just put everything in here. Now that I think about it, I'm actually gonna make a second basic refinery just to handle stone. I'm gonna make it here. So I'm gonna get a bit more stone so I can actually make it. So yeah, let's just. I'll be back when I can make that refinery. There we are. Now we can weld up our second basic refinery. Now we don't have to use the survival kit for stone anymore. Which is a bit better, because I think the basic refinery, it either has like, it definitely has a higher speed, but it might have a higher yield as well. I might be totally wrong on that, but I think it does. Anyway, now we have quite a little nice starter base. I'm gonna mine a little bit of stone, and then we're gonna go on to the next tier. Or I guess the next stage is a more appropriate term. Anyway, let's go mine some stone. Alright, I've been mining quite a bit of stone, and I even mined some iron. Because for the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna need quite a bit of iron. I also found out that one wind turbine wouldn't really cut it for the refinery, so I had to build a couple more. I even had to build a battery as well. Anyway, on the next part we're gonna build an actual refinery. Now, the actual refinery is quite a bit larger than the rest. Or, it's quite a bit larger than the first. So, what I think we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna make another platform. And, I'm gonna try to build this one a little bit better than this. Although the starter platform is quite nice, I did say that I want to try and make things a little bit prettier. So, I'm gonna try to build a bit prettier platform. I'm gonna build right over here. Anyway, I'll be back when I've built it. And there we have it. A small little platform we can build on. And this means I can now build the large refinery. However, before that, I really should build some power to this platform. But then again, also before that, I really need to get myself a source of food. I ate up all the food I had while I was mining. Now I do know there's like, not like hydroponics, but there is a way to get food just from like sun. It's not the oxygen farm, it's the algae farm. So let's build a couple of these first. I do think these need like the sun to work. So after we've built them, we could just continue on the platform while we wait for the sun. So yeah, let's plump down a few of these. Let's first make them yellow. Do these like have to be pointed upwards like this? I mean, I'm just gonna do it anyway. This is a temporary platform. Let's grab some plates. There we are, and then plump, plump, plump. I don't know if I need more than 3, but I'm gonna start with 3. And then let's connect them all with some pipes. These are the DLC pipes, because I just think these look so good. There, and now let's weld them up. And there we are. Now these will begin to produce some food once the sun is up. I'm guessing that's what these bars are for. They probably go up when there is more sun. Anyway, let's get to making some power for our platform. I think I'm just gonna bridge out here and then add some windmill towers. So let's get to doing that. Now I really like these cylindrical columns, so I'm gonna use them. Let's see, this is 2. Let's build out a little bit more. That should be enough. Then we just make a small little circle here. I need steel plates. And then we make a small little circle here. Like so. I'm gonna fill this with batteries. So let's get to doing that first. There we go. And then now we have the batteries installed. Now all we need to do is finish up the ring. Now our ring is completed. Now while I was making that, it did start telling me that I was hungry, which I am quite aware of. And I also see now that the hunger also makes it so you can't sprint. But then again, these have started making food. How quick do they make food though? Next output in 1 hour. It's not too bad. Current efficiency level 4%. Is this real life? This is probably real life hours. I'll probably starved by then, but hopefully when the efficiency goes up, this also becomes quite quicker. So hopefully I won't starve to death. Anyway, let's build a little pole where we can build our wind turbines. We're up now. Go, and then I'm just gonna use the pipe junction. And then we make our little X. There we are. Let's weld this bad boy up. I'm gonna do my little magic trick again, like this. And there we go. Now you can in fact see that I did starve to death while I was building this thing. I did found out, however, that if you eat raw meat, you will starve quicker. So that wasn't very smart of me. Anyway, let's get some wind turbines on these sides. They also need interior plates. Alright, now let's build some wind turbines on the side of these. There we go. And now let's weld all of these up. Let's see here. Let's weld all of these up. Nice. And there we have built some windmills. This looks a whole lot better than just using like frame blocks. Anyway, my algae farm has actually produced some algae now. And we just need to build like a food processor to actually make it into food. So let's just plop this right here and build it up. So let's see here. Alright, let's build it. And there we go, a food processor. Now, does this thing take like automatically pulse algae, or do we have to craft with it? Is it here? Yes. I could probably just do repeat mode and it will pull. Yes, now I finally have food. I don't have to starve anymore. Nice. Right, now that we have a somewhat stable food source, it's time to build a refinery. I need steel plates. Right now, we can build a refinery. I'm probably just gonna build it sideways like this on top of the platform. Right there. That should be good. And now let's spend a little time welding this thing up. And there we go. There we have our refinery. What a big refinery allows us to do is, it allows us to refine more ores. For example, you can refine silver and gold in a refinery, which you can't do in a basic refinery. This will be used for later when we build a medical room. Also, it has a bit higher yield and a bit higher speed. But the best part about the large refinery are these ports on the back. These are upgrade ports. Now I'm just gonna begin with speed modules, but eventually I'm gonna attach yield modules to the back of these. But I'm just gonna need gold for that. Yield modules give you more ore. So for example, if you put in 100 iron ore, then normally you would get 70 iron, but with yield modules you would get 140. So you would get 140 kilos of iron from 70 kilos, from 100 kilos of ore, which makes sense. Anyway, let's build a storage system and some assemblers here now. Well, let's put a little cargo container right here. Then I'm gonna build 2 assemblers out from here. This also gives me space to attach upgrades to them. So anyway, let's weld all of these up. There we go. A large cargo container and 2 assemblers. Now the great thing when you have 2 assemblers is you can make them work together. When you go into the production tab, you will get up each of the assemblers. And you always get up the assembler with the lowest number first. So what you can do is, you can just go in on all the other assemblers and put them into co-op mode. This will make it so they will pull out recipes from this assembler. So things will be made about double as quick. Sometimes when you have a bunch of them, they can be a little weird, but generally it's gonna make them faster. Also, upgrade slots. I'm not gonna do that yet, but eventually I'm gonna add speed modules to this. Now we're gonna make it so we have access to our system. So I'm just gonna build down a cargo terminal right here. This will make it so I can queue up stuff and access my inventory when all of our ports is covered. So let's weld that up with some pipes in the back. And there we go. Now we have an interface we can use to access our system. This means we can finally stop using our starter base. Or, not really, I still need the food part of the starter base. But I am eventually gonna move this and scale it up a bit, because this does not produce a lot of food. Anyway, let's move everything over from our starter base to our current base. I can also move the ore that is currently being processed from here to here. So I get more of it and it produces faster. As we can probably see here. Yeah, that's quite a bit faster. And there we are. Now everything is moved over. As we can see, it's empty. Except for the kelp farm. But that's gonna be like that for a while. Now I'm getting really tired of mining by hand. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna build a small little mining ship. Because when playing with the standard inventory, you just can't fit a lot of stuff in the inventory. So let's just build a small little mining ship. And the first thing we need to do for that is make a place where we can park. And it's gonna be temporary anyway, so I'm just gonna build it right here. So let's plop down a connector. There we are. Now let's print this up. There we are. And now, let's weld up a little mining ship. And there we go. Now we have our little mining ship. Now I will admit, it does look a little bit special, but at least I don't have to mine by hand anymore. But I think I'm gonna leave this video here. Now I am looking forward to what we're gonna build in this universe, because I'm definitely planning on building some cool stuff and fighting some stuff. So you can look forward to that. Well, see you next time.